Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. Now before we get into it, I'd just like to inform you about a new website selling quality current and retro Spurs jerseys, okjersey.com. They sell all current and retro Tottenham Hotspur shirts in all sizes. They sell the current fan and player versions as well as the 80s and 90s retro shirts, including my very favourite, the 1991 FA Cup final shirt. You can order very easily from okjersey.com, and if you use the code Chris, you will receive an 8% discount off your final order. You can also use the QR code on the top left of your screen. And by the way, they also have some training wear here and the 25-26 colour special edition jersey. Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Welcome back to the channel. This is another edition of the Daily Tottenham Transfer News Show. My name is Chris Cowlin, and as per usual, joined by Craig Dearman, as we will be covering all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. Now, it is day 19 of the January window. 14 days left of this winter window. Now, if you are watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, press the like button, comment below, let us know how you're feeling right now as a Spurs fan, and turn on that notification bell so YouTube informs you every single time we upload a video and go live. And of course, we are live on Facebook and X as well. Craig, good evening.
Good evening. Drained, I think.
Yeah.
It's the word.
Yeah, I've got to admit, if I didn't promise to do these shows every single day, I wouldn't have pressed that record button a minute ago, because I'm feeling pretty drained myself. And yeah, this is where we are. Let's get into it. There's not much. Matisse Tell remains the dream transfer target for Paris FC until deadline day. Tell still wants to leave Tottenham. I'm not surprised after today's news, because Thomas Frank has put Dominic Solanke back in the Champions League squad. Matisse Tell drops out again. Various reports from a lot of national newspapers stating that Tell and his agents are not happy with this decision, and they're actually very surprised by it. Thomas Frank in the press conference said, "I've made the decision. It was not a nice decision to make. That's football, so you have to make a decision." The way the rules are, the only option was it was either Dom or Matty in the squad. I chose Dom. I think Matty has done very well in the last couple of games. That's the crazy thing. If I could pick from all of the players that are fit, he would start tomorrow. But I can only pick between the two of them, and now he's out of the squad. That's, of course, a tough one to take for Matty. What do you make of it?
I don't blame Matisse Tell at all for being upset about it. He's been messed around so much. He's actually played well the last few games when he's been given a chance, and now he's just kicking the proverbials for him again, isn't it? For a young kid, essentially, who's, you can see the desire in him. Yeah, he's not the finished article at all, and you know, people have been critical about him, me included. But I just think I don't blame him at all for feeling down about it. It's a real kick for him. Gutted for him, actually. I don't know. He could have let him in. He left him in and replaced somebody else. Surely, couldn't he? Somebody else. I don't know. No. I don't know who. It's just like this club never. He couldn't. That was the choice, was it, between them two?
But basically, what happened is Dominic Solanke was in the squad for the group stage games, and
he dropped him out, didn't he?
Due to injury, due to the rules, you can actually swap the player. So if Dominic Solanke was to come back, the only person he could swap him out for is Tell. But of course, we're talking about the next two games: Dortmund at home and Frankfurt away. So you know, this could change again after the group stage, you know, for the knockout phase.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Thomas Frank's going to be dropped over the next few days if things don't improve. Well, I can't say. I think he's gone anyway. So it's almost like, how did Frank get to make that decision? That's what I would. I suppose he's the manager at the moment, and that's, you know, at the moment that's it, isn't it? He's the manager, so he makes a decision. But I get it. I totally get why Tell. He's a bit fed up at the moment. We all are.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was wishful thinking on your part, but Frank, in the press conference today ahead of the Dortmund game, I've been feeling the trust along the way. I've said that I've said this in every press meeting, that there's been backing and support. I had lunch with Nick, Vinay, and Johan today, so all good. I know it's part of the media circus, and the only focus I have is to do everything I can for us to win against Dortmund. As I've said many times, and I'll say it again, as long as we win football matches and make sure we win enough of them, then everyone will support us. It's not about me. It's about supporting the team, supporting the players.
I'm actually getting to a point where I'm lost for words. It almost feels like all the fans are just screaming and nobody's listening. That's how it feels to me at the moment. I don't know what other people are seeing in the board and at the club that the fans aren't. I always go with the majority of the fans. The fans are rarely wrong in what they want. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the way the club are handling things at the moment. And then Thomas Frank coming out and talking about what he had for lunch today. Unbelievable.
Honestly, I actually don't know what to say anymore. Do you know the amount of times I've said on this channel about how the fan base is so very mixed on things? There doesn't seem to be any mix on Thomas Frank right now. And I'm going to paraphrase now. He said about there's always, 1 in 5 will dislike you, 1 in 5 will like you. The other 3 can be persuaded. Where are you?
Yeah, where are those 3 people? Are you in the chat at the moment? Anybody? Come forward, make yourself, put your hand up. Jesus Christ! I mean, the worry is, and this is a transfer story essentially. That's what the show's about. Van der Ven, he's not going to sign a new deal, as reports to be believed. He's fed up. Will he sign a new deal while Thomas Frank is still at the club? Doesn't sound like he will do. So, we've got a bit of time with Mickey van der Ven, but I just don't get what's going on at Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. I don't know how to even start describing it. It's like somebody said there in the chat, all we can do now is laugh. I tend to agree, because if you don't laugh, you have to cry, because it's getting to a point where we are a laughing stock. Everybody's laughing at Spurs again. Right. And I'm sorry to say that, but I don't know what to say, Chris. I really don't know what to say.
Do you know, I actually feel sorry. I was on BBC 5 Live earlier, and the presenter was asking me questions about the Dortmund game, and all I just kept banging on about was Thomas Frank. And every question this lady asked me, all I kept going on about was Thomas Frank. And I honestly, when he come out and said about we've gone out for lunch and everything's good, what do you think happened in that lunch meeting? What was said?
Sounds like they had a jolly nice lunch together, talking about what you did at the weekend, what you're going to be doing in the week. I mean, surely they must be talking about it. But is it the case? Because Thomas Frank paints this picture that everything in the garden is rosy. He feels the support of Vinay and Johan and the members of the board and all that, blah, blah, blah. Are they living in a dream world? Are they honestly living in a dream world? I'll go back to it. Daniel Levy said they're custodians of the club. Yeah, they might be owners on paper, but they're custodians. They should listen to what the fans want. The fans do not want Thomas Frank at this club anymore. And here's him talking about what a nice lunch he had, feeling support. Listen to the supporters. Please listen to the supporters. And I feel actually a little bit sorry for Thomas Frank. I put it in our chat group that he's kind of being made a patsy to protect the board, in my opinion, for this game on Tuesday. He's going to get everything hurled at him if we're losing or lose on Tuesday. If it was me, he'd be gone already. Let him leave with some dignity at least, because the board are going that way. The board get all the flack, don't they? So I suppose that's why they've done it. It's cowardly. It's cowardly.
This is exactly what I was going to say. I think that what's going to happen, the longer that Thomas Frank stays in this role while losing matches, and losing them poorly. Do you think there's going to be more pressure on the board to make that decision? And do you think there's even a plan B? Do you think they've got a plan? Because in my honest opinion, and I said this to you a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think you believed me, Craig. I did say that has Thomas Frank got a free pass this season in terms of league position? Because that's the feeling that I got a couple of weeks ago, that he's got a free pass, because the amount of times he's gone on about us finishing 17th in the Premier League table, it just sounds like all the time of like, well, if we finish 16th or above, then that's acceptable. But it's clearly not. And I don't think the board thought that they would be in this position at this stage of the season, where so many people have distanced themselves from Spurs. And like I've said in the last couple of days, no one's happy right now. I know Thomas Frank was smiling after his lunch, but we're not happy right now.
No, and the fans won't be. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. It really is. He's not. I hate coming on here and battering people, but he's not the right fit. I get bored of it. I do get bored of it, because it's like people must think, people come on here to listen to us talk about it, give them a bit of good news. Sadly, there's not much to give at the moment. And
there's nothing.
There is nothing.
It's not much. There's nothing.
And that is the key. We're doing a transfer show. There's no transfer news hardly. Well, nothing. Let's be honest. So what does that say? What are they doing? What do they do? If they sack Thomas Frank, is that why? Is that why? Because they know they're going to be sacking him, so they can't bring any players? They surely probably bring in an interim till the end of the season, so the interim surely doesn't get to choose the players, so it would be on the director of football choosing them. And then do you go for a permanent manager in the summer? Well, of course you would if you did that. So, we've heard there have been having meetings last night, and some of the board want him gone, some of the board want him to stay. What is the plan? Was it discussed at that lunch today that they said, look, Thomas, you've got to take charge tomorrow, but you're going to be gone on Wednesday? Is that why he looked so happy? Probably not, because he looked like he'd won the lottery in that press conference. He was quite chipper. He was quite happy.
Do you know what I think has happened today? I think that they've gone out for lunch, and I think that the discussion has been pretty much, don't worry, you'll win the fans round. Don't worry, everything will be fine.
Absolute delusion. Absolute delusion.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. It's deluded. It's utterly delusional. He doesn't come back from this. He's lost. Like you said, once you lose the away fans, you're on a sticky wicket. He lost the away fans the other week at Bournemouth. And the West Ham, what little support he had at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and across the fan base, that's gone. You don't get that back. He's gone. He's got to go. And I don't think I've ever been as vociferous about a manager of this football club than Thomas Frank. And that's the sad thing, And the other thing is, well, let's face it, I'm not favouring a win tomorrow, but I was going to say, even if we do beat Dortmund, I don't think that changes anything, really. Well, we only have 11 senior outfield players available for this game against Dortmund. And I know this is a transfer show. This just underlines yet again how important it is to bring in real quality into this squad, because Romero, Porro, Spence, Udogi, Danso are our only defenders. Midfielders, Simmons, Bergvall, Archie Gray. Forwards, Dominic Solanke, Randall Kodani, Wilson Odobert. What's your expectations tomorrow?
Low. I think low. I don't think we've got a prayer, actually.
Does Thomas Frank kind of get a free pass on this game because we've got lack of players?
I think under ordinary circumstances, he may well do. He may well do, because the crowd would see that. But I just think if we lose this game tomorrow, it's just going to put another nail in the coffin. I really do. You've only got to look at the the games the fans probably, I think this is fair to say, the games that the fans want to see fight and going for it is West Ham, Arsenal, Chelsea. Look what's happened in all three of those games this season so far. I think that's a huge part of it. And we could go through the game by game. There's been horrendous performances this season. I haven't seen any improvement. We've gone backwards, Chris, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've got worse. I didn't even think that was possible, but we've got worse.
Yeah.
I think that crowd's going to be toxic tomorrow, to be honest.
Tottenham's Ben Davies is having surgery on a broken ankle, so we wish him a speedy recovery. He's out of contract in the summer, so he may have probably played his last game in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt, Craig.
Very sad, but yeah.
Alistair Gold from Football.London has been talking about Kolo Muani. He's labelled as a striker, but my goodness, and this is me quoting Alistair here, he's been labelled as a striker, but my goodness, if you watch his play around the box, you'd struggle to see him throw himself at anything like a natural striker would. At this point in time, I cannot see where Spurs are making this deal permanent unless there is an incredible turnaround for the rest of the season. He's on, and Spurs are paying him £160,000 a week right now. What have you made of Kolo Muani, and should we sign him on a permanent deal in the summer?
No, and I've been very unimpressed. Very unimpressed. He's Alistair's spot on in what he said there. He's not. He doesn't strike me as a natural centre forward at all. I bet if you got Alan Shearer or somebody like that to critique him, he'd say exactly the same thing as well. He's just. I mean, you could argue that the service to him hasn't been top notch, and it probably hasn't, but good players make things happen, and I just haven't seen enough from Kolo Muani to warrant us buying him permanently in the summer. I think there's better out there. And he don't want to, the only game he's really performed in is against PSG, and he was just probably proving a point, Yeah.
Reports in Norway, again on Oscar Bob, who we've mentioned in the last couple of days. Tottenham have joined the race to sign Oscar Bob from Manchester City during this current transfer window. The attacker would be open to the move. His situation at the Etihad has become increasingly difficult, particularly as competition for places in the attacking areas continues to intensify. What do you make of this one, Craig? Would you like to see Oscar Bob in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt? Would this get the Spurs fan base excited?
Probably no, probably not. I mean, a decent squad player, definitely. I mean, he's a squad player at City, so who are we to say he wouldn't be a decent player for Tottenham? But in answer to your question, it wouldn't get the fans that excited, would it? It wouldn't really get the juices flowing, so to speak. Good player, but have we got too many players like him? He's not going to create tons of goals. He's not going to score loads of goals, is he? He's I think we've got a lot of similar players to him, actually, and I don't think he's of much better standard than what we've got. He's decent, don't get me wrong, young player, done well at City, but not for me.
You got anything?
No. No, nothing else. I mean, the only things were those two people that even not signing contracts or outgoings. There's literally not much at all, really, which isn't a surprise at the moment, I suppose. But yeah, sorry.
What's your gut feeling on the game on Tuesday against Dortmund? And I'm going to say this. More importantly, Spurs travel to Burnley on Saturday, and I say importantly because when you look about us winning games, it's all right when Thomas Frank says about we must continue to win games. Well, we're not continuing to win games because we haven't won in the last three. Actually, we haven't won in the last five. 2 draws, and then the last 3 games, 3 defeats. So the Burnley game, I think, is hugely important because Spurs are slipping down that Premier League table, and it seems at the moment that the likes of West Ham and the likes of Nottingham Forest behind us and Leeds are picking up more points than we are.
Correct. Yeah, in fact, none of the top 5 lost. None of the bottom 5 lost, I think, or the bottom 4 lost at the weekend, and none of the top 5 won either. So it's a really weird Premier League table this season. And you're right, West Ham, 10 points behind us now? And after our fixtures in February, really tough February coming up. Burnley is it a 6-pointer? I wouldn't go that far to say that, but it's an important game. But then again, Chris, we said that about West Ham. Look how that ended. So what worries me is we haven't always done particularly well at Burnley, have we, over the years? And I know the old cliche, it's a tough place to go.
Sorry, yeah, I'm saying we're 14th. We're actually 15th.
We are 15th, yeah. Yeah, Bournemouth are winning at the moment, aren't they? Yeah. Big game. I mean, I'm just... I just, in the game tomorrow, you mentioned the game tomorrow, I can't see anything but a loss. I really can't, sadly. I can't remember the last time I predicted a win. Oh, actually, it was West Ham. I was way off with that, wasn't I?
Do you think tomorrow's update ought to be called the two Spurs fans that are deeply frustrated update?
Yeah, you could use probably stronger words, actually, but yeah. I don't think we're the only two, to be honest with you. I think everybody's feeling the same, and that is the frustrating thing, that we're all feeling the same now. I haven't seen one person anywhere, social media, anywhere, come out and say, we need to give Frank time. I've never seen that, Chris. Never.
No, I must say, Saturday, that's when I was done. I feel like I've been very patient with Thomas Frank. I know you said it weeks ago, and I just lived in hope and thought that if this window was better, and I had sympathy about the injuries. I always have sympathy with injuries with managers, because I always like to see a manager have the majority, if not all, of their squad available, so you can see exactly what they're going to do. But when you lose games like that, like we did on Saturday against West Ham, and this home record, I know we've been banging on about this home record for the past few months. It is absolutely shocking, and something drastically needs to change. And you know how I've been banging on about, we're X amount of points from the top 5, and it is achievable. We can make this season into, some kind of success if we get European football for next season. I feel like the only way we are going to achieve that is if we do make that change. But like I said earlier, I think that the longer this goes on, and if Thomas Frank, what's your gut feeling? Do you think Thomas Frank, regardless of the result on Tuesday, do you think that Thomas Frank is in the dugout on Saturday against Burnley?
I mean, I don't want him to be, but the longer it goes on, like you say, there's nothing coming out of the club that, other than media reports, but they seem to want to still stick with him. And I just don't understand it, because like you say, we can sit here and see, we all know, I think I'll speak for the whole fan base, but I think most people know that we cannot move forward until he goes. That's the bottom line. I think all of us can see that. So why is Vinay not acting on this? Is it pure stubbornness because he didn't want to be wrong?
Yeah, can so many people be wrong? Because because the club clearly they've always wanted this to be a long-term plan, and they've all called it a transitional season. So I suppose that they're looking at the Spurs fan base and thinking, don't be impatient, things will turn around. Do you think that, do you think that we may get proved wrong, Craig? And in 6 months' time, Thomas Frank's still here, having a fantastic summer transfer window, bringing real quality players, and then have a very different season next year. Do you think that we'll be looking back at this moment going, what were we thinking? We got it wrong. I
think hell would have to freeze over before that happened. That's how confident I am that a change needs to be made. I just cannot see a world. Well, you know me, I was kind of questioning it and seeing things that I didn't like in probably the beginning of October. And I thought, I was kind of nudging myself saying, no, I must be wrong. You see little things on social media that people kind of agree with what I was thinking, but you think, no, he's only been in post a couple of months. Am I going to come round to this? Is he going to prove me wrong? Is he going to suddenly go on a run? Can you see things changing for the better? And I thought, okay, fine enough. Then we got into November and December. And like I say, I'd kind of made my mind up a couple of months ago that I didn't think this was going to work, sadly. And primarily because I couldn't see any improvements really in the players. And this, you know, he came in as a tactical genius, a coach that improved players, and I wasn't seeing it. I couldn't see it, and I still haven't seen it. And I think you've only got to ask yourself the question, he was supposed to make us better defensively. And what you've got to look at as well, and when you really think about it, Ange Postecoglou didn't have a strong back 4 or 5, if you want to include the goalkeeper, for majority of his tenure, really. He's pretty much had that settled back 4 or 5, hasn't he? We haven't had many injuries in that department. Well, Romero got suspended and all that, but he didn't have Danzo at the time, certainly in the earlier part of the season, to come in. So he's had elements of his game plan that he couldn't have had any better than than he's at the club. And we're still leaking goals. We're not defensively more solid. And that was supposed to be the part of the game plan that was better than Ange. And it's not. It's not. That's the thing. So incredible, really. Incredible.
The stats certainly don't lie. And as I mentioned the last couple of days on Saturday, Frank was trying to put Bergvall and Danso on. Danso ended up sitting down because Frank was in what player he wanted to bring on. I think he was going to bring on both of them at one time, and then he decided it was just the one. And then Bergvall came on and tried to. This is at the 1-1 point, and Bergvall then came on and took the throw in, and we haven't even scored from a throw on this season, and it just seems to be such a big part of our game of these long throws. But you know, do you get the whole long throw process in Thomas Frank and the coaching staff's plans? Because if we haven't scored from one and we're nearly at the end of January, do you carry on doing that?
I don't mind the long throw if it's executed correctly.
It's Brentford, a bit Wimbledon, though, isn't it?
It is. I don't mind it as a change, actually, but when it's executed well, Brentford have got that. I can't remember his name. The player that can absolutely launch it. He's not quite Rory Delap, but he can really launch it. And they've scored from them, as you say. We've scored from none of them. And Bergvall's got a decent throw. Danto has a fairly long throw, but sometimes a long throw is not a long throw. Do you know what I mean? It's not. You've got to be able to reach at least the middle of the goal, and we don't all the time. It's just the length of time we take to do these things as well. How does Bergvall feel? I'm putting you on to take a long throw.
Yeah.
I think he's lost the dressing room as well. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm certainly not convinced by us trying to win a game by, throw-in. They certainly don't fit into the narrative of it being the Tottenham way, entertaining style. I just think it's really poor. Honestly, I've got nothing more to say. I feel like I'm really, really grumpy at the moment when it comes to Tottenham. And it's funny because I felt like this last week. And then, of course, we signed Conor Gallagher. And Vinay then, admitted that there were a lot of issues that he was going to sort out. And I thought that was a positive move. And then, of course, we are where we are now. So I'm feeling really grumpy again.
Yeah, you and me both. And the West Ham was the kind of straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people, as you say.
Yeah.
It's
a big turning point. Yeah, a big turning point for a lot of people.
Absolutely, and the space West Ham had in the middle of the park coming forward, that was their best away performance XG wise of the season. It's just not good everywhere you look. Every metric, every bit of data is down. The fan base are down. The players look down. The only they've got to make a change is simple as that. They cannot continue like this. They cannot.
Yeah, I keep saying that, and people keep saying to me, it can.
Perhaps you should get Mick McCarthy. Yeah, it is so frustrating that you can see something and the fan base can see something and everybody is screaming. It's like you're screaming behind a bit of, soundproof glass and nobody's listening to you. It's terrible. Right.
Craig, thank you for joining me as usual. I don't know how we've been recording for 31 minutes because we didn't have a great deal to update people with. So apologies about that. It's not our fault. We are 19 days into the window. Of course, we've got Conor Gallagher over the line. Actually, Sousa, we haven't even announced. Spurs have not officially announced the 19-year-old Brazilian left back. When is that going to happen?
I thought it would have happened Saturday or Sunday, but what are they doing? What's going on? Oh, it's got to come this week, surely.
Yep. Right. Okay. Well, we will be back again tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah. Craig, enjoy the week. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening, and come on, you Spurs.